Upright. Go upright, a word used by shoemakers, tailors, and their servants, when any money is given to make them drink, and signifies, bring it all out in liquor, though the donor intended less, and expects change, or some of his money, to be returned. Threepenny upright. See threepenny upright, upright man. An upright man signifies the chief or principal of a crew. The vilest, stoutest rogue in the pack is generally chosen to this post, and has the sole right to the first night's lodging with the dells, who afterwards are used in common among the whole fraternity. He carries a short truncheon in his hand, which he calls his filchman, and has a larger share than ordinary in whatsoever is gotten in the society. He often travels in company with 30 or 40 males and females, Abram men, and others, over whom he presides arbitrarily. Sometimes the women and children who are unable to travel, or fatigued, are by turns carried in panniers by an ass, or two, or by some poor jades procured for that purpose. Upstarts. Persons lately raised to honors and riches from mean stations. Urchin. A child, a little fellow, also a hedgehog. Urinal of the planets. Ireland, so called from the frequent rains in that island. Used up. Killed, a military saying, originating from a message sent by the late General Guise, on the expedition at Carthagena, where he desired the commander-in-chief to order him some more grenadiers, for those he had were all used up. Wabbler. Foot wobbler, a contemptuous term for a foot soldier, frequently used by those of the cavalry. To waddle. To go like a duck. To waddle out of Change Alley as a lame duck, a term for one who has not been able to pay his gaming debts, called his differences, on the stock exchange, and therefore absents himself from it. Wag. An arch frolicsome fellow. Waggish. Arch, gamesome, frolicsome. Wagtail. A lewd woman. Waits. Musicians of the lower order, who in most towns play under the windows of the chief inhabitants at midnight, a short time before Christmas, for which they collect a Christmas box from house to house. They are said to derive their name of waits from being always in waiting to celebrate weddings and other joyous events happening within their district. Wake. A country feast, commonly on the anniversary of the tutelar saint of the village, that is, the saint to whom the parish church is dedicated. Also a custom of watching the dead, called late wake, in use both in Ireland and Wales, where the corpse being deposited under a table, with a plate of salt on its breast, the table is covered with liquor of all sorts, and the guests, particularly, the younger part of them, amuse themselves with all kinds of pastimes and recreations. The consequence is generally more than replacing the departed friend. Walking cornet. An ensign of foot. Walking poulterer. One who steals fowls, and hawks them from door to door. Walking staddy oneer. A hawker of pamphlets, and see walking the plank. A mode of destroying devoted persons or officers in a mutiny or shipboard, by blindfolding them, and obliging them to walk on a plank laid over the ship's side, by this means, as the mutineers suppose, avoiding the penalty of murder. Walking up against the wall. To run up a score, which in alehouses is commonly recorded with chalk on the walls of the bar. Wall. To walk or crawl up the wall, to be scored up at a public noose. Wall-eyed, having an eye with little or no sight, all white like a plastered wall. To wap. To copulate, to beat. If she want wap for a win, let her trine for a make, if she won't lie with a man for a penny, let her hang for a halfpenny. Mort wap apace, a woman of experience, or very expert at the sport. Whopper-eyed. Sore-eyed. Ware. A woman's ware, her commodity. Where hawk. An exclamation used by thieves to inform their confederates that some police officers are at hand. Warm. Rich, in good circumstances. To warm, or give a man a warming, to beat him. See chafed. Warming pan. A large old-fashioned watch. A Scotch warming pan, a female bedfellow. Warren. One that is security for goods taken up on credit by extravagant young gentlemen. Cunny Warren, a girls' boarding school, also a bawdy house. Wash. Paint for the face, or cosmetic water. Hogwash, thick and bad beer. Wasp. An infected prostitute, who like a wasp carries a sting in her tail. Waspish. Peevish, spiteful. Waste. House of waste, a tavern or alehouse, where idle people waste both their time and money. Watch, chain, and seals. A sheep's head and pluck. Watermill. A woman's private parts. Water sneaksman. A man who steals from ships or craft on the river. Water. His chops watered at it, he longed earnestly for it. To watch his waters, to keep a strict watch on anyone's actions. In hot water, in trouble, engaged in disputes. Water bewitched. Very weak punch or beer. Waterpad. One that robs ships in the River Thames. Watery-headed. Apt to shed tears. Water scridger, a doctor who prescribes from inspecting the water of his patients. See piss prophet. Waddles. Ears. Can't. Where a one-horse chaise. Weasel-faced. Thin, meager-faced. Weasel-gutted, thin-bodied, a weasel is a thin long slender animal with a sharp face. Wedding. The emptying of a necessary house, particularly in London. You have been at an Irish wedding, where black eyes are given instead of favors, saying to one who has a black eye. Wedge. Silver plate, because melted by the receivers of stolen goods into wedges. Cant. To weed. To take apart. The kidde weeded the swell's screens, the youth took some of the gentleman's bank notes. Weeping cross. To come home by weeping cross, to repent. Welch comb. The thumb and four fingers. Welch fiddle. The itch. See Scotch fiddle. Welch mile. Like a Welch mile, long and narrow. His story is like a Welch mile, long and tedious. Welch rabbit, i.e. a Welch rarebit bread and cheese toasted. See rabbit. The Welch are said to be so remarkably fond of cheese, that in cases of difficulty their midwives apply a piece of toasted cheese to the genuavita to attract and entice the young taffy, who on smelling it makes most vigorous efforts to come forth. Welch ejectment. To unroof the house, a method practiced by landlords in Wales to eject a bad tenant. To well. To divide unfairly. To conceal part. A cant phrase used by thieves, where one of the party conceals some of the booty, instead of dividing it fairly amongst his confederates. Well hung. The blowen was nuts upon the kidde because he is well hung, the girl is pleased with the youth because his genitals are large. Westminster wedding. A match between a whore and a rogue. Wet parson. One who moistens his clay freely, in order to make it stick together. Wet Quaker. One of that sect who has no objection to the spirit derived from wine. Whack. A share of a booty obtained by fraud. A paddywhack, a stout brawny Irishman. Whapper. A large man or woman. Wheedle. A sharper. To cut a wheedle, to decoy by fawning or insinuation. Cant wheel band in the neck. Regular drinking over the left thumb. Whelp. An impudent whelp, a saucy boy. Whereas. To follow a whereas, to become a bankrupt, to figure among princes and potentates, the notice given in the Gazette that a commission of bankruptcy is issued out against any traitor, always beginning with the word whereas. He will soon march in the rear of a whereas. Wet. A morning's draught, commonly white wine, supposed to whet or sharpen the appetite. Whetstone's Park. A lane between Holborn and Lincoln's Inn Fields, formerly famed for being the resort of women of the town. Wids. Words. Cant to whittle. To tell or discover. He whittles, he peaches. He whittles the whole scrap, he discovers all he knows. The cull whittled because they would not tip him a snack, the fellow peached because they would not give him a share, they whittle beef, and we must brush, they cry out thieves, and we must make off. Cant whittler. An informer, or one that betrays the secrets of the gang. Whiffles. A relaxation of the scrotum. Whifflers. Ancient name for fifers, also persons at the universities who examine candidates for degrees. A whiffling cur, a small yelping cur. Whimper, or whindle. A low cry. To whine. To complain. Whinyard. A sword. To whip the cock. A piece of sport practiced at wakes, horse races, and fairs in Leicestershire, a cock being tied or fastened into a hat or basket, half a dozen carters blindfolded, and armed with their cart whips, are placed round it, who, after being turned thrice about, begin to whip the cock, which if any one strikes so as to make it cry out, it becomes his property. The joke is, that instead of whipping the cock they flog each other heartily. Whipjacks. The 10th order of the Contéing crew, rogues who having learned a few sea terms, beg with counterfeit passes, pretending to be sailors shipwrecked on the neighboring coast, and on their way to the port from whence they sailed. To whip off. To run away, to drink off greedily, to snatch. He whipped away from home, went to the alehouse, where he whipped off a full tankard, and coming back whipped off a fellow's hat from his head. Whip belly vengeance, or pinch-gut vengeance, of which he that gets the most has the worst share. Weak or sour beer. Whippersnapper. A diminutive fellow. Whipshire. Yorkshire. Whipster. A sharp or subtle fellow. Whipsyllabub. A flimsy, frothy discourse or treatise, without solidity. Whirligigs. Testicles. Whisker. A great lie. Whisker splitter. A man of intrigue. Whiskin. A shallow brown drinking bowl. Whisky. A malt spirit much drank in Ireland and Scotland, also a one-horse chaise. See Tim Whisky. Whistle. The throat. To wet one's whistle, to drink. Whistling shop. Rooms in the King's Bench and Fleet Prison where drams are privately sold. Wit. I.e. Whittingtons. Newgate. Cant 5 rum patters are rubbed in the dark man's out of the wit, and are piked into the Usaville. 5 highwaymen broke out of Newgate in the night, and are gone into the country. White ribbon. Gin. White feather. He has a white feather, he is a coward, an allusion to a game cock, where having a white feather is a proof he is not of the true game breed. White-livered. Cowardly, malicious. White lie. A harmless lie, one not told with a malicious intent, a lie told to reconcile people at variance. White sergeant. A man fetched from the tavern or alehouse by his wife, is said to be arrested by the white sergeant. White swelling. A woman big with child is said to have a white swelling. White tape. Geneva. White wool. Geneva. Whitechapel. Whitechapel portion, 2 smocks, and what nature gave. Whitechapel breed, fat, ragged, and saucy, Cst. Giles's breed. Whitechapel beau, one who dresses with a needle and thread, and undresses with a knife. To play at whist Whitechapel fashion, i.e. aces and kings first. Whitewashed. One who has taken the benefit of an act of insolvency, to defraud his creditors, is said to have been whitewashed. Whitfieldite. A follower of George Whitfield, a Methodist. Whither go ye? A wife, wives being sometimes apt to question their husbands whither they are going. Whittington's College. Newgate, built or repaired by the famous Lord Mayor of that name. Horse bird. A debauched fellow, the largest of all birds. He sings more like a horse bird than a canary bird, said of one who has a strong manly voice. Horse curse. A piece of gold coin, value 5 shillings and 3 pence, frequently given to women of the town by such as professed always to give gold, and who before the introduction of those pieces always gave half a guinea. Hose kittling, or whore's son. A bastard. Whoremonger. A man that keeps more than one mistress. A country gentleman, who kept a female friend, being reproved by the parson of the parish, and styled a whoremonger, asked the parson whether he had a cheese in his house, and being answered in the affirmative, "Pray," says he, "does that one cheese make you a cheesemonger?" Whorepipe. The penis. Whow ball. A milkmaid, from their frequent use of the word wow, to make the cow stand still in milking. Ball is the supposed name of the cow. Wibble. Bad drink. Wibblingswitch. The 4 of clubs, from one James Wibling, who in the reign of King James I grew rich by private gaming, and was commonly observed to have that card, and never to lose a game but when he had it not. Wicket. A casement, also a little door. Widow's weeds. Mourning clothes of a peculiar fashion, denoting her state. A grass widow, a discarded mistress. A widow bewitched, a woman whose husband is abroad, and said, but not certainly known, to be dead. Wife. A fetter fixed to one leg. Wife in watercolors. A mistress, or concubine, watercolors being, like their engagements, easily effaced, or dissolved. Wiganones. A man wearing a large wig. Wigspy. Wigspy, a man wearing a wig. Wild rogues. Rogues trained up to stealing from their cradles. Wild squirt. A looseness. Wild goose chase. A tedious uncertain pursuit, like the following a flock of wild geese, who are remarkably shy. Willing-ted. A free horse, or a coming girl. Willow. Poor, and of no reputation. To wear the willow, to be abandoned by a lover or mistress. Win. A penny, to win. To steal. The cull has won a couple of rum glimsticks, the fellow has stolen a pair of fine candlesticks. Wind. To raise the wind, to procure money. Winder. Transportation for life. The blowen has napped a winder for a lift, the wench is transported for life for stealing in a shop. Windmill. The fundament. She has no fortune but her mills, i.e. she has nothing but her and *se windfall. A legacy, or any accidental accession of property. Windmills in the head. Foolish projects. Window peeper. A collector of the window tax. Windward passage. One who uses or navigates the windward passage, a sodomite. Windy. Foolish. A windy fellow, a simple fellow. Wink. To tip one the wink, to give a signal by winking the eye. Winnings. Plunder, goods, or money acquired by theft. Winter cricket. A tailor. Winter's day. He is like a winter's day, short and dirty. Wipe. A blow, or reproach. I'll give you a wipe on the chops. That story gave him a fine wipe. Also a handkerchief. Wiper. A handkerchief. Cant. Wiper drawer. A pickpocket, one who steals handkerchiefs. He drew a broad, narrow, cam, or specked wiper. He picked a pocket of a broad, narrow, cambric, or colored handkerchief. To wire draw. To lengthen out or extend any book, letter, or discourse. Wise. As wise as Waltham's calf, that ran 9 miles to suck a bull. Wise men of Gotham. Gotham is a village in Nottinghamshire. Its magistrates are said to have attempted to hedge in a cuckoo. A bush, called the Cuckoo's Bush, is still shown in support of the tradition. 1,000 other ridiculous stories are told of the men of Gotham. Wiseacre. A foolish conceited fellow. Wiseacre's Hall. Gresham College. Wit. He has as much wit as 3 folks, 2 fools and a madman. Witches. Silver. Witcher bubber, a silver bowl. Witcher tilter, a silver hilt sword. Witcher cully, a silversmith. To wobble. To boil. Pot wobbler, one who boils a pot. Wolf in the breast. An extraordinary mode of imposition, sometimes practiced in the country by strolling women, who have the knack of counterfeiting extreme pain, pretending to have a small animal called a wolf in their breasts, which is continually gnawing them. Wolf in the stomach. A monstrous or canine appetite. Wood. In a wood, bewildered, in a maze, in a peck of troubles, puzzled, or at a loss what course to take in any business. To look over the wood, to ascend the pulpit, to preach. I shall look over the wood at St. James's on Sunday next. To look through the wood, to stand in the pillory. Up to the arms in wood, in the pillory. Woodpecker. A bystander, who bets whilst another plays. Woodcock. A tailor with a long bill. Wooden habeas. A coffin. A man who dies in prison is said to go out with a wooden habeas. He went out with a wooden habeas, i.e. his coffin. Wooden spoon. Cambridge. The last junior optimy. See Wrangler, optimy. Wooden horse. To ride the wooden horse was a military punishment formerly in use. This horse consisted of 2 or more planks about 8 feet long, fixed together so as to form a sharp ridge or angle, which answered to the body of the horse. It was supported by 4 posts, about 6 feet long, 4 legs. A head, neck, and tail, rudely cut in wood, were added, which completed the appearance of a horse. On this sharp ridge delinquents were mounted, with their hands tied behind them, and to steady them, as it was said, and lest the horse should kick them off, 1 or more firelocks were tied to each leg. In this situation they were sometimes condemned to sit an hour or 2, but at length it having been found to injure the soldiers materially, and sometimes to rupture them, it was left off about the time of the accession of King George I. A wooden horse was standing in the parade at Portsmouth as late as the year 1750. Wooden ruff. The pillory. See Norway neckcloth. Wooden surtude. A coilin. Woman of the town, or woman of pleasure. A prostitute. Woman and her husband. A married couple, where the woman is bigger than her husband. Woman's conscience. Never satisfied. Woman of all work. Sometimes applied to a female servant, who refuses none of her master's commands. Wool bird. A sheep. Cant. Wool gathering. Your wits are gone a wool gathering, saying to an absent man, one in a reverie, or absorbed in thought. Woolly crown. A soft-headed fellow. Word grub bears. Verbal critics, and also persons who use hard words in common discourse. Word pecker. A punster, one who plays upon words. Word of mouth. To drink by word of mouth, i.e. out of the bowl or bottle instead of a glass. World. All the world and his wife, everybody, a great company. Worm. To worm out, to obtain the knowledge of a secret by craft, also to undermine or supplant. He is gone to the diet of worms, he is dead and buried, or gone to Rathbone. Wranglers. At Cambridge the first class, generally of 12, at the annual examination for a degree. There are 3 classes of honors: wranglers, senior optimies, and junior optimies. Wranglers are said to be born with golden spoons in their mouths, the senior optimies with silver, and the junior with leaden ones. The last junior optimy is called the wooden spoon. Those who are not qualified for honors are either in the gulf, that is, meritorious, but not deserving of being in the 3 first classes, or among the Pilot proofreader's note, Greek letters the many. See pluck, apostles, and see rap rascal. A red cloak, called also a roquelaire. Wrapped up in warm flannel. Drunk with spirit-use liquors. He was wrapped up in the tail of his mother's smock, saying of any one remarkable for his success with the ladies. To be wrapped up in any one, to have a good opinion of him, or to be under his influence. Wrinkle. A wrinkle-bellied whore, one who has had a number of bastards. Childbearing leaves wrinkles in a woman's belly. To take the wrinkles out of any one's belly, to fill it out by a hearty meal. You have one wrinkle more in your ASE, i.e. you have one piece of knowledge more than you had, every fresh piece of knowledge being supposed by the vulgar naturalists to add a wrinkle to that part. Wry mouth and a pisson pair of breeches. Hanging. Wry neck day. Hanging day. Win. See win. Xantip. The name of Socrates' wife, now used to signify a shrew or scolding wife. Yaffling. Eating. Cant. To yam. To eat or stuff heartily. Yankee, or Yankadoodle. A booby, or country lout, a name given to the New England men in North America. A general appellation for an American. Yarmouth capon. A red herring. Yarmouth is a famous place for curing herrings. Yarmouth coach. A kind of low 2-wheeled cart drawn by one horse, not much unlike an Irish car. Yarmouth pie. A pie made of herrings highly spiced, which the city of Norwich is by charter bound to present annually to the king. Yarm. Milk. Cant. Ya and nay man. A Quaker, a simple fellow, one who can only answer yes, or no. Yellow. To look yellow, to be jealous. I happened to call on Mr. Green, who was out, on coming home, and finding me with his wife, he began to look confounded blue, and was, I thought, a little yellow. Yellow belly. A native of the fens of Lincolnshire, an allusion to the eels caught there. Yellow boys. Guineas. To yelp. To cry out. Yelper, a town crier, also one apt to make great complaints on trifling occasions. Yest. A contraction of yesterday. Yoked. Married. A yoke, the quantum of labor performed at one spell by husbandmen, the day's work being divided in summer into 3 yokes. Kentish term. Yorkshire tyke. A Yorkshire clown. To come Yorkshire over anyone, to cheat him. Young one. A familiar expression of contempt for another's ignorance, as I see you're a young one. How do ye do, young one? To yowl. To cry aloud, or howl. Zad. Crooked like the letter Z. He is a mere tzad, or perhaps zed, a description of a very crooked or deformed person. Zany. The jester, Jack Pudding, or Merry Andrew, to a mountebank. Zedland. Great part of the West Country, where the letter Z is substituted for S, as Z for C, Zun for sun. End of the Project Gutenberg ebook 1811 Dictionary of the Vulgar Tongue. Updated editions will replace the previous one. The old editions will be renamed. Creating the works from print editions not protected by U.S. copyright law means that no one owns a United States copyright in these works, so the Foundation, and you, can copy and distribute it in the United States without permission and without paying copyright royalties. Special rules, set forth in the general terms of use part of this license, apply to copying and distributing Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works to protect the Project Gutenberg trademark concept and trademark. Project Gutenberg is a registered trademark, and may not be used if you charge for an ebook, except by following the terms of the trademark license, including paying royalties for use of the Project Gutenberg trademark. If you do not charge anything for copies of this ebook, complying with the trademark license is very easy. You may use this ebook for nearly any purpose such as creation of derivative works, reports, performances, and research. Project Gutenberg ebooks may be modified and printed and given away. You may do practically anything in the United States with ebooks not protected by U.S. copyright law. Redistribution is subject to the trademark license, especially commercial redistribution. Start, full license. The full Project Gutenberg license. Please read this before you distribute or use this work to protect the Project Gutenberg trademark mission of promoting the free distribution of electronic works, by using or distributing this work, or any other work associated in any way with the phrase Project Gutenberg. You agree to comply with all the terms of the full Project Gutenberg trademark license available with this file or online at www.gutenberg.org/license. Section 1. General Terms of Use and Redistributing Project Gutenberg Trademark Electronic Works 1.a. By reading or using any part of this Project Gutenberg trademark electronic work, you indicate that you have read, understand, agree to and accept all the terms of this license and intellectual property, trademark/copyright, agreement. If you do not agree to abide by all the terms of this agreement, you must cease using and return or destroy all copies of Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works in your possession. If you paid a fee for obtaining a copy of or access to a Project Gutenberg trademark electronic work and you do not agree to be bound by the terms of this agreement, you may obtain a refund from the person or entity to whom you paid the fee as set forth in paragraph 1.e.8. 1.b. Project Gutenberg is a registered trademark. It may only be used on or associated in any way with an electronic work by people who agree to be bound by the terms of this agreement. There are a few things that you can do with most Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works even without complying with the full terms of this agreement. See paragraph 1.c below. There are a lot of things you can do with Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works if you follow the terms of this agreement and help preserve free future access to Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works. See paragraph 1.e below. 1.c. The Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation, the Foundation or PGLOF, owns a compilation copyright in the collection of Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works. Nearly all the individual works in the collection are in the public domain in the United States. If an individual work is unprotected by copyright law in the United States and you are located in the United States, we do not claim a right to prevent you from copying, distributing, performing, displaying, or creating derivative works based on the work as long as all references to Project Gutenberg are removed. Of course, we hope that you will support the Project Gutenberg trademark mission of promoting free access to electronic works by freely sharing Project Gutenberg trademark works in compliance with the terms of this agreement for keeping the Project Gutenberg trademark name associated with the work. You can easily comply with the terms of this agreement by keeping this work in the same format with its attached full Project Gutenberg trademark license when you share it without charge with others. 1.d. The copyright laws of the place where you are located also govern what you can do with this work. Copyright laws in most countries are in a constant state of change. If you are outside the United States, check the laws of your country in addition to the terms of this agreement before downloading, copying, displaying, performing, distributing or creating derivative works based on this work or any other Project Gutenberg trademark work. The Foundation makes no representations concerning the copyright status of any work in any country other than the United States. 1.e Unless you have removed all references to Project Gutenberg, 1.e.1. The following sentence, with active links to, or other immediate access to, the full Project Gutenberg trademark license must appear prominently whenever any copy of a Project Gutenberg trademark work, any work on which the phrase Project Gutenberg appears, or with which the phrase Project Gutenberg is associated, is accessed, displayed, performed, viewed, copied or distributed. This ebook is for the use of anyone anywhere in the United States and most other parts of the world at no cost and with almost no restrictions whatsoever. You may copy it, give it away or reuse it under the terms of the Project Gutenberg license included with this ebook or online at www.gutenberg.org. If you are not located in the United States, you will have to check the laws of the country where you are located before using this ebook. 1.e.2. If an individual Project Gutenberg trademark electronic work is derived from texts not protected by U.S. copyright law, does not contain a notice indicating that it is posted with permission of the copyright holder, the work can be copied and distributed to anyone in the United States without paying any fees or charges. If you are redistributing or providing access to a work with the phrase Project Gutenberg associated with or appearing on the work, you must comply either with the requirements of paragraphs 1.e.1 through 1.e.7 or obtain permission for the use of the work and the Project Gutenberg trademark as set forth in paragraphs 1.e.8 or 1.e.9. 1.e.3. If an individual Project Gutenberg trademark electronic work is posted with the permission of the copyright holder, your use and distribution must comply with both paragraphs 1.e.1 through 1.e.7 and any additional terms imposed by the copyright holder. Additional terms will be linked to the Project Gutenberg trademark license for all works posted with the permission of the copyright holder found at the beginning of this work. 1.e.4. Do not unlink or detach or remove the full Project Gutenberg trademark license terms from this work, or any files containing a part of this work or any other work associated with Project Gutenberg trademark. 1.e.5. Do not copy, display, perform, distribute or redistribute this electronic work, or any part of this electronic work, without prominently displaying the sentence set forth in paragraph 1.e.1 with active links or immediate access to the full terms of the Project Gutenberg trademark license. 1.e.6. You may convert to and distribute this work in any binary, compressed, marked up, non-proprietary or proprietary form, including any word processing or hypertext form. However, If you provide access to or distribute copies of a Project Gutenberg trademark work in a format other than plain vanilla ASCII or other format used in the official version posted on the official Project Gutenberg trademark website, www.gutenberg.org, you must, at no additional cost, fee, or expense to the user, provide a copy, a means of exporting a copy, or a means of obtaining a copy upon request, of the work in its original plain vanilla ASCII or other form. Any alternate format must include the full Project Gutenberg trademark license as specified in paragraph 1.e.1. 1.e.7. Do not charge a fee for access to, viewing, displaying, performing, copying or distributing any Project Gutenberg trademark works unless you comply with paragraph 1.e.8 or 1.e.9. 1.e.8. You may charge a reasonable fee for copies of or providing access to or distributing Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works provided that, you pay a royalty fee of 20% of the gross profits you derive from the use of Project Gutenberg trademark works calculated using the method you already use to calculate your applicable taxes. The fee is owed to the owner of the Project Gutenberg trademark, but he has agreed to donate royalties under this paragraph to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation. Royalty payments must be paid within 60 days following each date on which you prepare, or are legally required to prepare, your periodic tax returns. Royalty payments should be clearly marked as such and sent to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation at the address specified in Section 4, Information about donations to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation. You provide a full refund of any money paid by a user who notifies you in writing, or by email, within 30 days of receipt that he does not agree to the terms of the full Project Gutenberg trademark license. You must require such a user to return or destroy all copies of the works possessed in a physical medium and discontinue all use of and all access to other copies of Project Gutenberg trademark works. You provide, in accordance with paragraph 1.f.3, a full refund of any money paid for a work or a replacement copy, if a defect in the electronic work is discovered and reported to you within 90 days of receipt of the work. You comply with all other terms of this agreement for free distribution of Project Gutenberg trademark works. 1.e.9. If you wish to charge a fee or distribute a Project Gutenberg trademark electronic work or group of works on different terms than are set forth in this agreement, you must obtain permission in writing from the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation, the manager of the Project Gutenberg trademark. Contact the Foundation as set forth in Section 3 below. 1.f.1.f.1. Project Gutenberg volunteers and employees expend considerable effort to identify, do copyright research on, transcribe and proofread works not protected by U.S. copyright law in creating the Project Gutenberg trademark collection. Despite these efforts, Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works, and the medium on which they may be stored, may contain defects, such as, but not limited to, incomplete, inaccurate or corrupt data, transcription errors, a copyright or other intellectual property infringement, a defective or damaged disk or other medium, a computer virus, or computer codes that damage or cannot be read by your equipment. 1.f.2. Limited warranty, disclaimer of damages, except for the right of replacement or refund described in paragraph 1.f.3, the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation, the owner of the Project Gutenberg trademark, and any other party distributing a Project Gutenberg trademark electronic work under this agreement, disclaim all liability to you for damages, costs, and expenses, including legal fees. You agree that you have no remedies for negligence, strict liability, breach of warranty or breach of contract except those provided in paragraph 1.f.3. You agree that the Foundation, the trademark owner, and any distributor under this agreement will not be liable to you for actual, direct, indirect, consequential, punitive, or incidental damages even if you give notice of the possibility of such damage. 1.f.3 Limited right of replacement or refund. If you discover a defect in this electronic work within 90 days of receiving it, you can receive a refund of the money, if any, you paid for it by sending a written explanation to the person you received the work from. If you received the work on a physical medium, you must return the medium with your written explanation. The person or entity that provided you with the defective work may elect to provide a replacement copy in lieu of a refund. If you received the work electronically, the person or entity providing it to you may choose to give you a second opportunity to receive the work electronically in lieu of a refund. If the second copy is also defective, you may demand a refund in writing without further opportunities to fix the problem. 1.f.4 Except for the limited right of replacement or refund set forth in paragraph 1.f.3, this work is provided to you as is, with no other warranties of any kind, express or implied, including but not limited to warranties of merchantability or fitness for any purpose. 1.f.5 Some states do not allow disclaimers of certain implied warranties or the exclusion or limitation of certain types of damages. If any disclaimer or limitation set forth in this agreement violates the law of the state applicable to this agreement, the agreement shall be interpreted to make the maximum disclaimer or limitation permitted by the applicable state law. The invalidity or unenforceability of any provision of this agreement shall not void the remaining provisions. 1.f.6 Indemnity. You agree to indemnify and hold the foundation, the trademark owner, any agent or employee of the foundation, anyone providing copies of Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works in accordance with this agreement, and any volunteers associated with the production, promotion, and distribution of Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works, harmless from all liability, costs, and expenses, including legal fees, that arise directly or indirectly from any of the following which you do or cause to occur. A. Distribution of this or any Project Gutenberg trademark work. B. Alteration, modification, or additions or deletions to any Project Gutenberg trademark work, and C. Any defect you cause. Section 2. Information about the mission of Project Gutenberg trademark. Project Gutenberg trademark is synonymous with the free distribution of electronic works in formats readable by the widest variety of computers, including obsolete, old, middle-aged, and new computers. It exists because of the efforts of hundreds of volunteers and donations from people in all walks of life. Volunteers and financial support to provide volunteers with the assistance they need are critical to reaching Project Gutenberg trademark's goals and ensuring that the Project Gutenberg trademark collection will remain freely available for generations to come. In 2001, the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation was created to provide a secure and permanent future for Project Gutenberg trademark and future generations. To learn more about the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation and how your efforts and donations can help, see sections 3 and 4 and the Foundation information page at www.gutenberg.org. Section 3. Information about the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation. The Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation is a non-profit 501(c)(3) educational corporation organized under the laws of the state of Mississippi and granted tax-exempt status by the Internal Revenue Service. The Foundation's IN or Federal Tax Identification Number is 64-6221541. Contributions to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation are tax-deductible to the full extent permitted by U.S. federal laws and your state's laws. The Foundation's business office is located at 809 North 1500 West, Salt Lake City, Utah 84116801596-1887. Email contact links and up-to-date contact information can be found at the Foundation's website and official page at www.gutenberg.org/contact section 4. Information about donations to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation. Project Gutenberg trademark depends upon and cannot survive without widespread public support and donations to carry out its mission of increasing the number of public domain and licensed works that can be freely distributed in machine-readable form accessible by the widest array of equipment including outdated equipment. Many small donations, $1 to $5,000, are particularly important to maintaining tax-exempt status with the IRS. The Foundation is committed to complying with the laws regulating charities and charitable donations in all 50 states of the United States. Compliance requirements are not uniform and it takes a considerable effort, much paperwork, and many fees to meet and keep up with these requirements. We do not solicit donations in locations where we have not received written confirmation of compliance. To send donations or determine the status of compliance for any particular state, visit www.gutenberg.org/donate. While we cannot and do not solicit contributions from states where we have not met the solicitation requirements, we know of no prohibition against accepting unsolicited donations from donors in such states who approach us with offers to donate. International donations are gratefully accepted, but we cannot make any statements concerning tax treatment of donations received from outside the United States. U.S. laws alone swamp our small staff. Please check the Project Gutenberg web pages for current donation methods and addresses. Donations are accepted in a number of other ways including checks, online payments, and credit card donations. To donate, please visit www.gutenberg.org/donate. Section 5. General information about Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works. Professor Michael S. Hart was the originator of the Project Gutenberg trademark concept of a library of electronic works that could be freely shared with anyone. For 40 years, he produced and distributed Project Gutenberg trademark ebooks with only a loose network of volunteer support. Project Gutenberg trademark ebooks are often created from several printed editions, all of which are confirmed as not protected by copyright in the U.S. unless a copyright notice is included. Thus, we do not necessarily keep ebooks in compliance with any particular paper edition. Most people start at our website, which has the main PG search facility, www.gutenberg.org. This website includes information about Project Gutenberg trademark, including how to make donations to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation, how to help produce our new ebooks, and how to subscribe to our email newsletter to hear about new ebooks. 1811 Dictionary of the Vulgar Tongue. Unabridged from the original 1811 edition with a foreword by Robert Cromie. Preface. Dictionary of the Vulgar Tongue. The full Project Gutenberg license.